uplift my Aunt Ann, who is the matriarch of my family. She was my grandmother's youngest sister on my maternal side, and she is the one who holds all of our family history, as far back as she can find it. It doesn't go really far, because we have like a tumultuous family background, but she is the one who had all of the pictures, and that's who I have learned the value of family history from her. So I talk to her all the time. I let her know, look, when you pass on, I'm the one that gets all of the family information, because since a child, I went to you, we would have conversations, and we still have conversations about family. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for uplifting that, Kylie. I love that story. I wish I would have had that conversation with my grandmama. Like, look, give me the photo albums, but that is a sacred role that your auntie holds, and ashe for that. Would anyone else like to go? All right, I'm taking silence as no one else would like to introduce themselves, which is fine. Again, if you want to pop it into the chat, feel free. I appreciate everyone who introduced themselves, and I'm sending love to all of you, and I'm grateful for y'all to be in the space. All right, so speaking of the chat, we're going to use it for a little bit. So what are 3 words that you think of when you think of aunties? And you can type them in the chat. I hear some background noise. If someone is unmuted, would you mind muting yourself, please? Thank you. Okay, I see some words coming in. We see poppin', fly, caring, second mom, rich. Okay, rich auntie, we love that. Fun. Yes. Yes, the fun auntie. The caring auntie, the fly auntie, the parent with less baggage. Well, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely always found that, like, I don't know, aunties, there's a little bit of there's not that close of I don't know what to, there's a little bit of separation, I guess, that like the auntie can see you as a little bit different than a parent can. Like a parent sees you as like their baby, but an auntie can like see you as a full human. I don't know if that makes sense. Oh, I see there's some words in the Hoover chat also. Okay. So I see teacher, healer, fun, funny, loving, has snacks, secret keeper. Okay, let me see. I think if I switch over to Hoover, my screen will keep sharing. Let me try. Let me see. Oh no, screen sharing is paused. Okay, great. Well,
I can share some of them if you want.
yes, that would be great.
I see. Yeah, hugs, food, love, caring, wisdom, real talk, fun, supportive, loving, caregiver, provider of food, and listening ear. They're like a mix between mom and sister sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Like a mix between mom and sister. Yes, I love that. Thank y'all. That's awesome. And then what words resonate with y'all? So what words that other folks said really pop out to you? And you can say something in the chat, or you can go off mute if you want. Yeah, what resonated with you? Oh, I see food. Yes, food. Very important. Safi said mixed between mom and sister. Stuck out to them. Adina said secret keeper. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So discussion with a twist. Now that we have kind of warmed up our thought process around aunties. Now we're going to talk a little bit. Oops, sorry. So if you have a journal, something to write on, something to write with, blank Google Docs, back of a receipt, napkin, whatever, I just want y'all to take a minute to reflect before we reach out, or before we share back out. Sorry.
This in an electoral context, but in an actual governance context.
I hear some background noise again. Please double check to make sure you're muted. All right, so the first question we have, historically, why do aunties have such a strong presence in the Black community? And if you're not Black, then why do aunties have such a strong presence in your community? Think about that, reflect on that individually for a little bit. So I realized I didn't say this. I try to usually give this preface at the beginning of this conversation, but auntie is a term that means a lot of things to a lot of different cultures. And also for me, auntie is not a gendered term. So aunties are not just women. Aunties can be anyone who fills this role, and a lot of gender nonconforming folks, a lot of other LGBTQ folks might also identify as aunties and might also take up that space. Like I'm non-binary and I'm an auntie like all day, every day. So please do not take auntie as a gendered term in this space. I realize that many people feel many different ways outside of this space, but in this space, auntie is not a gendered term. So I just want to read this from the chat really fast. Eleni, I think is how you pronounce your name. Aunties are more emotionally available. They're not the sole provider, so it's easier to show up not having all the responsibilities of a parent. Our capacity is different than the parent. Absolutely, absolutely. So historically, why do aunties have... Oh, was someone saying something?
I need you to draw.
Oh, can someone, yeah, can you mute yourself? Thank you. Oh, so historically, why do aunties have such a strong presence in the Black community or in your community? And you can feel free to unmute or pop it in the chat.
For me, historically, the familial bond is so tight. And of course, that comes from, you know, indigenously. There are certain tribes where you didn't know literally who your biological parent was until you were 8, 9, 10. And I think that that is something that has, you know, we've kept a vessel of that even across these waters, where we just know like the bonds. And I mean, when you said auntie and auntie's not gendered, I also think of auntie not being blood related. Some of my best aunties, we're not biologically related, but that's my auntie. That's my mama's best friend. So like, I grew up with them, and I well, not grew up with, like I grew up with them being that figure to me. And so I really think that that's a beautiful thing that we've kept. And and that's why, you know, they're so important to me, is that they witness your story too. They witness your journey of you growing up from infant to whatever. So they get to see that development in you, and also pair it with their best friend or their biological sister, and they can see the nuances that maybe, like Eleni said, your parent may not be able to see at that particular point, you know.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. They do not have to, aunties do not have to be blood related. And in a lot of our lineages, aunties specifically, a lot of them were not blood related because of various traumas, because of families being broken up, or just because of we're all family and it doesn't matter blood or not, we're family and we're going to treat each other as family and we're going to look out for each other. Thank you for that. Yes, Eleni says, I know who accepts me into their community when I'm introduced or mentioned to someone's child as TTTD, Auntie or Tata. So yes, to not blood related. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. Yes, I'm always like, my friends are having babies and I'm like, you know, this means I get to be Auntie, right? Like, just wait. I'm so excited. Anyway, would anyone else like to share on this question before we move forward?
My answer was kind of similar. I just said their impact, they have such a huge impact because they look out and support the children in the community, despite biological connections. Even looking at how my mom operated in my community, I'm not sure if some of the people I grew up with consider her auntie, but I just see the love that she did. She had her own children, but she would see like people standing out on the street, you know, selling drugs. And she would ask like the people my age, like, what were you doing outside at 3 a.m? And some of them had parents, and some of their parents, you know, may have been, you know, on a substance, or they may have been, you know, in prison or something, but she would still look out for all of the other children in the community. And I think it's so important because regardless of if there's a blood connection, they show like, okay, I love you, I care for you, I care about you, you matter. Like, if you need to talk to me, you can talk to me, regardless of if I already have children or not. And I try to show up that way, you know, to like my friends' children. And I also have that additional perspective. Like, I see where the mama coming from, but I can see what it, like, I see the children too. So I'm kind of that bridge between my friends. Like, hey, I understand your frustration, but think about your child at this age and some of the traumas they have already gone through. So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing the story about your mom and just like being the community auntie that's like, let me just keep an eye on all the kids on the block. Like, even if I don't know you, even if I don't know your people, let me just keep an eye on you. And like you said, it communicates like, I see you, you matter. And we know that like a lot of times our parents are taken from us because of capitalism, whether that's physically with the prison industrial complex, or if your parents just had to work multiple jobs to, you know, to keep the make ends meet, or my parents worked night shift. And so, you know, those types of things where our parents weren't necessarily always there in an accessible way. And so aunties really step up to fill in that gap. And they protect. I love that you said that, Tiana, in the chat, that aunties are protectors. Absolutely. I feel like aunties see things that maybe mama don't see, grandmama don't see, you know, granddaddy, uncle don't see, but auntie sees it. Auntie sees it, and auntie will take you to the side and have a conversation with you. So thank you for that. That's awesome. Okay, next question. What roles have aunties played in movement and organizing work? So we're getting a little specific. So yeah, I think to whether it's current movement and organizing work that folks are involved in, or historical event or historical organizing or historical civil rights movements or what have you. What roles have aunties played in movement and organizing work? Okay, I see some folks coming through in the chat. Food, absolutely. Feeding people. Aunties are the movement. I see that. Like, yes, food, housing, passing out water, all the things, all the things. Oh, from the Hoover chat. Also, I think aunties can be more truthful with children in a way their parents cannot be. Absolutely. Grassroots organizers, community mobilization, healing folks, they get hurt. Absolutely. I know for me, I feel like aunties are keepers of the culture in a way that like my mama wasn't. Like I went to my cool auntie to get her to help me learn how to tie a head wrap, or to help me like how can we up this outfit a level. And so like aunties are the keepers of the culture in a lot of ways. Okay, Tiana, your auntie was a candy lady. Yes, we love the candy lady. I mean, the candy lady is sustaining whole entire generations. Let's just say that. So yes, aunties are out here making moves. Would anybody like to expand on what they said in the chat or go off mute and chat a little bit about this question, specifically movement and organizing work? I see in the chat, Adina said, I think of aunties as people who task themselves with collective survival. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, well, we can just keep throwing things in the chat if anyone has any other thoughts about this question. Otherwise, we will keep it moving. All right, this is the one I want to hear all the good stuff. What wisdom have we learned from our aunties? What wisdom have we learned from our aunties?
I would say like in my case, like womanhood, like sensuality and sexuality specifically. Like my mother wasn't willing to go there with me in that way, but my auntie was, like I'm not gonna tell you about the birds and the bees. I'm gonna tell you about these boys and these men. And I appreciated that. Like I needed that wisdom. And I find that for some reason, sometimes I see, not so much in my generation right now, but definitely my mother's and, kind of in between, where there's a disconnect of knowing that your child will one day become a sexual, sensual being. And not even one day, they are a sexual, sensual being, and like facilitating that growth versus pretending like it doesn't exist. And so I'm really ultimately very grateful for my auntie for that role that they've played in my life.
Thank you for that. Absolutely. Yeah, that is. Yeah, like I said, it's that separation piece, and separation almost sounds like a negative word, but it's just like I didn't birth you, so I can see you as a full human on your own, and I can give you a safer space to. For me specifically, now you said that, and I'm thinking back to my auntie Tina that I uplifted. That like she would buy these cute little outfits and go places, go on dates or go wherever. And then her weight would fluctuate. So then if it was too small, she would be like, hey, you want this? And I'm looking at this like denim auntie jumpsuit. And I'm just like, you know what? Let me take this space to explore my femininity. Like, is this the type of person I want to dress like? Or is this how I want to look? Or like, those types of things. It was definitely a space where like, oh, these are some more grown-up clothes. I can try this on and I can see how I like it. And, my mama would, oh, that's too grown for you. Or she would never buy that for me, where my auntie's like, go ahead. And, it's a little grown, but it's not too much. And you have a safe space to explore that. And I really thank my auntie for that, and I want to uplift that. I see some folks in the chat. Let's see. My auntie taught me dating tips. My auntie was a healer, so she gave me a lot of her healing books and taught me about herbs. Yes, come on, auntie, with the herbalism like that. Please write that down if that knowledge is not already written down, because that is priceless. Write it down, record it somehow to pass it on to the next generation. Be careful when someone outside of your age group wants to date you and talks down on people in their age group. Not fooling with them. They've been cast out of their age group for a reason. Verbatim quote. Yes, auntie, they've been cast out of their age group for a reason. And that is true. That is absolutely true. Hygiene stuff I learned from community aunties. My mom out here ashy and dry. No, mama. Mama got to get the Bath and Body Works Mother's Day kit. You got to get her the body wash, soap, candle, and the lotion all together. Oh, your mom had you out here. Lord, that's what happens when I don't read the second one next. Mom had you out here ashy and dry. My mama would clown us if we were ashy and dry. I just want to say.
On behalf of change.
Oh, do I hear someone talking? Nope. Yes. Okay. Let's see. What else is in the chat? I had an auntie teach you about men, and the other one taught you how to handle yourself socially. Yes, absolutely. Alternative/expansive family structures. Yes, yes. My aunt taught me how to do my makeup and hair. Yes. Taught me not to judge because I don't know folks' stories. I'm no longer ashy. Y'all have recovered thanks to the aunties. Ashe, ashe. How to dress and really just be feminine. Ashe. Yeah, my aunties definitely gave me space to explore my fashion, because I was always getting hand-me-downs, and explore the type of person I wanted to be in the future. You know, they gave me an alternate view of, I don't necessarily want to say not just adulthood, but not necessarily just femininity, I guess womanhood, like Black womanhood, from a different perspective of my mama, my mama was the conservative auntie I learned like a couple of years ago. And I'm like, oof, how did you end up with me as a child? But I'm sorry that, yeah, my mom was the conservative auntie that you do not tell when you're considering, you know, when you're thinking about sex, talking about sex and all these different things. My auntie also taught me how to dance. Yes. Yes, auntie. Okay. I think this is my favorite question of all of them. What will the next generation of aunties look like? So we are in this room talking about our aunties and talking about the wisdom that they dropped on us. And now we're getting real. What are we going to be like as aunties? What are, you know, if we are, I don't necessarily want to assume anyone's age, but like if we are millennials and we are maybe older Gen Zers and we are starting to realize who we are as adults, what are we going to look like as aunties? Come on, Rich, wait a minute. Rich. I claim that. We are where the money resides. Ashe. So what else will the next generation of aunties look like? We're going to be out here rich. We're going to be fluing out the kids. And, you know, I always have this like vision in my head of me like fluing my nieces out. We going to Paris. We going to Spain. We going to wherever. We going to India. We just going all across the world. Yeah, I want to be the traveling auntie to take the kids with me. I'm bringing all the good gifts. Yes. From whoever. The auntie is basically the mom's translator. Say that. Auntie is mom's translator. Auntie can, yeah, like someone else said, see both sides. See both sides of a situation. So they can definitely translate mom and they can translate the child also. Tiana said, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, kind of piggybacking off of what our talks and discussions of yesterday, but like rested, like I want them to see us rested and fulfilled, living in purpose. Like, you know, how you said our capitalism takes a lot of us away from the child. Like, I'm looking forward to this generation, like them seeing how we've created our own sustainability and therefore can be more present and rested. And willing, you know, so how many times, you know, do you get asked to play and you're like, nah, girl, I'm tired, nah, you know, and for our children to be like, yeah, no, me and my aunties, we play. Like we get it in, whatever that play may look like.
Ashe, Ashe. You are spitting. I just need you to know you are spitting tonight, this morning, afternoon, Lord. I don't know what time it is. Playful and rested. Yeah, absolutely. Because it was so much. There were so many times in my childhood that, like, Auntie, you want to play? Mama, you want to play? No, baby, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. That was the line, right? And so, yeah, what would it look like if we were not? For once, if y'all don't follow the Nat Ministry, I feel like I plug the Nat Ministry every time I get in front of people. If you don't follow the Nat Ministry on Instagram, I know they're also on Facebook. They might be on Twitter and stuff too. But the Nat Ministry, Trisha Hersey Park, I believe is her name. Please, genius. Black people need to rest. All of it. So I see some folks saying about the travel. They want to be the traveling auntie. Let's see. I'm an auntie already. I'm the compassionate one, the one they come to when they get a spanking. Yes, where you're the one that like listens to them and like, tell me your side of the story, baby. I know they might not have gave you the chance to. So come on, let's talk. Want to be the well-dressed aunt, always. I'm the traveling auntie who have fun with the kids, supporter, purposeful. Absolutely. I want to be the aunt that the kids can call when they're in college and need $50 here, there, or gas money. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, the auntie that, I also have a fantasy of my nibblings, going to Spelman or going to Morehouse and they come to my house on Sunday for dinner. We go shopping and I help them get some school supplies or whatever else. And I can just be that auntie that spoils them. It's like, I'm just down the street, baby. Just call me if you need me. So yes, I love rich auntie is able to spoil the children as we love. Tiana said, my niece just loves to sit on my lap and hold my crystals. Oh, nieces, multiple, but they are old souls too. I was there for both of my nieces' birth. They love when I come because we go outside and play. Yes, I love that. And like my oldest niece she's about to be 16, and we definitely, like, we got into some witchy stuff. Like, she taught me something because this was like a year, maybe, well, right before quarantine. And so she was teaching me about sigils, and I was like, yeah, it's a new moon, so we do this, and this. She was like, oh, can we do sigils? And I'm like, oh, teach me. What's a sigil? So we were doing sigils and we were dancing in the new moon. It was great. So yes, I'm the witchy auntie. Absolutely. Let's see. Eleni says, I'm the auntie that's gently reminding you who you are and all you can be, and be careful with the generational patterns so we can live healthy, healed, and fulfilled, and our next generations can continue to thrive. Ashe. Y'all, all of y'all spitting right now. I'm feeling really great in this space. Yes, this generation of aunties will be less attached to binaries. Yes, absolutely. Okay, last one. The most important, this might not be my favorite, but this is my most important question. How does an auntie take care of themselves? So we already talked about being rested. We talked about being playful. How do we get there? And actually, while we're thinking about that, my big cousin, my mom is one of 7. So her oldest sister is my Aunt Tina. And I think they were 11 or 12 years apart. So my big cousin, my Aunt Tina's daughter I think she's 12 years older than me too. And so she's kind of like my auntie in a way, even though she's my big cousin. But she she watched one of my videos on social media or something. She was like, you seem, you're talking really well. She was like, I just wanted to give you some feedback. You're talking really well. And, you're giving good information, but just make sure you drink some water. Just, you sound like you're talking really fast and maybe you're a little nervous. So just drink some water. And so now every time I drink water while I'm presenting, I think about her. And so that's one way an auntie can take care of themselves. We got to drink water, y'all. All right. Being our authentic selves, holistically dancing, any form of movement. Absolutely. Yes. Dancing. I was talking to one of my friends about this the other day, that like any kind of movement is a form of cleansing for your body. Because basically movement when our bodies like jiggle, for lack of a better word, like that's when we're shedding cells that we don't need anymore. That's when we're our bodies are renewing themselves, and our oxygen is getting recycled. Like when you take full breaths, basically, it's really good for you. And you know, when we're exercising, when we're moving our bodies, that's one time that people take really full breaths. So all of that, yes, we move our bodies. Aunties travel, honor themselves as sacred, fill their own cup first. See, y'all spitting. I'm just like, honor yourself as sacred. I just want to sit with that for a second. All right. And then follow that up with another, with the help of the aunties. Ashe. With the help of the auntie, like we can always ask for help from our aunties, and we can always ask for help from our contemporaries also, like our peer group of aunties. I also want to uplift that like our community is a big piece of what makes us strong. And so the aunties can lean into the community just as much as the community leans on the aunties. Journaling, expressing gratitude. Absolutely. Yeah, expressing gratitude is a huge one. It's a huge one. I feel like that it helps us mentally so much to express gratitude on a daily basis. All right, y'all. That was so good. So this activity is gonna have to be homework because I was really into the conversation. So this activity, my auntie looks like, again, this is gonna be homework because we only have about 15 minutes left and I don't want to be rushing. So take some time after this to reflect on what we've discussed today and what type of auntie you'll commit to being moving forward. So I've heard a couple of folks say, type of auntie that they already are. And I invite you to take this time to set some intentions on the type of auntie that you want to be. And then after that, you'll create a visual representation of the auntie you are committed to being using the medium of your choice. So I use Pinterest because I love Pinterest. You can use Instagram. Somebody did like a really cool Instagram stories collage that they tagged me in, and that was great. You could do, if you are old school and you like magazines and cutting out pictures and all that, you can do that. Take a picture, upload it. Whatever other medium you want, just some kind of visual representation of the auntie you're committed to being. And so for vulnerability's sake, this is my Pinterest page, or my Pinterest board. I don't have a whole lot, but I think this is a good representation of the type of auntie I am. Like hobbies and projects, like I'm always just like, if we're hanging out for the weekend, then I'm the person, I don't want you to just be laying on the couch watching TV. Like I'm like, okay, what kind of stuff can we do? So like the under the sea graham crackers, I just thought that looked cute, and kids really like making food also. And so ways to cook with kids. So like my niece, my oldest niece, when she was like 6, we would make pizza, and making pizza is super easy. All you need is you just buy the dough, you can buy some tomato sauce, buy the cheese already shredded, buy the pepperonis or whatever else, just throw it all together. But kids they love it. And so what are kid-friendly recipes? How can we cook together? How to teach a scared teenager to drive. I know my parents worked my nerves when I was learning how to drive. So I already know that not everybody's parents can teach them how to drive. Not everybody can teach people how to drive in the first place. And I would like to just be that another option that hey, if we're hanging out, let's go to an empty parking lot and take a little driving lesson. I tried to do that with my niece, and she didn't want to drive. I think a lot of Gen Z kids are not wanting to drive, which I think is going to be interesting to see how that folds out in the next couple of years. But anyways, how to prepare your tween for her first period, because I definitely had that conversation with my mom when my niece was 10, and I'm like, you think I should just buy some pads to just have, because you never know. She was like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. And I tried to talk to her about it, and my niece was like, no, I do not want to have this conversation. But at the very least, hey, know that this is a thing that might be happening, and we can have this conversation, and we're prepared if it happens while we're here. Also, I have some yoga down here because kids also love yoga, and I used to do yoga with my oldest niece all the time, and we still do yoga together sometimes. And then, yeah, really, kids love yoga. I love yoga, so it usually works. So take your time. I would love to see what your auntie looks like. Since we ran, I mean, I want y'all to actually like take time to do this, and like I don't want to rush it, so we're not going to try to do it now, but I would love to see it. Tag me on Instagram or wherever else you are. I don't really have a business Pinterest. This is my personal Pinterest, so it's not really on Pinterest, but please, I would love to see it. Okay, we're gonna skip that part. All right. So actually, maybe we do have time. We have like 10 minutes, and really all we have left is the wrap up. So, okay, take a few minutes. And if you want to work on this, you can. If not, that's cool too. Let's see, there'll be flying cars by the time they're ready to drive, right? Yeah, who knows what'll be next. And my sign is Sagittarius. So yeah, take that with a grain of salt, or do with that what you will. So yeah, actually, well, how about we take 10 minutes? Because yeah, we have a break until 12:45. Okay, so yeah, let's take 10 minutes. I'll set a timer, and let's work on what your auntie looks like. All right, if you are still going, awesome. We have about 5 minutes, a little bit more than 5 minutes left. All right, you got 2 minutes. So wrap up whatever you started. Yeah, 2 minutes. All right, we got about 30 seconds to wrap up. No pressure at all. Once again, if you would like to share in this space, that would be awesome. If you don't, that's cool too. I would love if you shared it with me on Instagram, or even I'm on Facebook too, not as much as Instagram though. And I'll give you all that information at the end. But again, no pressure. This can also be an internal activity. But I want to open up the floor if anyone does want to share what theirs looks like. Or even if you don't, because I don't know if people can like share their screens or anything. That seems complex right now. But you can also verbally just explain what you have on your thing, and you don't have to share. Oh, there's the timer. Sorry, that was loud. Okay. I think I hear somebody unmuted, so the floor is yours. All right. I'll open the floor for a little bit longer if anyone else would like to model, if anyone would like to model vulnerability for the community. No pressure at all. All right, that's cool. We will keep it moving. So thank you again for coming to Auntie Taught Me. I'm so glad we had this conversation. It was invigorating I haven't facilitated this live in a while, so it was nice to facilitate this live with other people responding. So as a result of this course, or as a result of this workshop, I hope y'all have learned how to analyze the auntie role in order to determine the most important attributes of the role. Further, I hope that you have discovered how the auntie role can be leveraged for resistance and designed your best auntie life. So if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, or cries of outrage, or if you just want to say, what you enjoyed or something you're feeling at the end of this is the space to do so. I see Tiana said this was fun and enlightening. Thank you, Tiana. Adina said, this is amazing. Safi said, thank you so much. Thank y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, no cries of outrage. That's lit. Okay. So keep in touch. These are my nibblings. Some of them. There's probably more now. I feel like this was from a couple of Christmases ago, maybe 2018 or 19. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's any more, but they're all like a foot taller now. So yeah, keep in touch. Let me know what you think. Connect with me on Instagram at Kuluntu RJC, KULUNTU RJC. You can share whatever you want about this topic using hashtag Auntie Taught Me. I have a testimonial form. I don't have like a link to it right now, but I can pop it in the chat. Oh wait, actually I do. Well, I'll pop it in the chat in a second. And I'm hitting the road. So I have Auntie Taught Me, and I have some other presentations and facilitations that I do about community building, about reproductive justice, birth justice, best practices for working with Black folks around the maternal mortality crisis, all that fun stuff. So definitely hit me up. My email is not on here. Of course not. But my email is Khye, Khye at kuluntu.center. And I can pop that in the chat. And if y'all give me just a second, I will pop the testimonial form in the chat. And otherwise, that is all I got. So thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being so attentive and being so participatory. And I really appreciate the conversation that we had. And I hope y'all took something from it. So yes, again, I would love if y'all could talk to y'all soon. Bye, y'all.